I get it, you're staring at a handful of gaming PCs on Amazon and wondering whether any of them will actually let you play the titles you love without blowing a hole in your budget. You've probably already read the headline specs: Ryzen 7, a 16GB RTX style card, a terabyte of SSD, but that doesn't tell you if the machine will sit comfortably on a desk, stay quiet while you're streaming, or survive a few months of heavy use. You don't want to end up with a box that sits in the corner, gathering dust while you rent a cloud gaming service because the hardware just can't keep up. The AVGPC Minix Gaming PC is one of those all-in-one builds that promises a lot on paper, and the question is whether it delivers for people like you. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Minix is aimed squarely at the plug-and-play gamer who wants a decent Windows 11 experience without having to assemble parts or troubleshoot BIOS settings. The system ships pre-built in a black compact case, which means you can pull it out of the box, plug it into a monitor or TV, and start playing within minutes. That convenience is a real value proposition if you're not comfortable building a PC or you simply don't have the time to hunt for compatible components. For a typical 1080p 1440p gamer, the Ryzen 5700X, despite being labeled a Ryzen 7 in the title, is a solid middle ground CPU. 8 cores and 12 threads give you enough headroom for modern titles that spread work across multiple cores, and it also handles background streaming or recording without chugging noticeably. The graphics card listed, an AMD Radeon RX 9060 XT with 16GB of VRAM, is positioned as a mid-range successor to the older 6600 series. In real-world testing, it can sustain 60 frames per second in titles like Valorant, Fortnite, and Apex Legends at 1080p with medium settings. For more demanding games Cyberpunk 2077 or Elden Ring, you'll need to dial back texture quality and turn off some post-processing effects to stay smooth, but you'll still get a playable experience. If your primary goal is competitive shooters or indie titles, this GPU is more than adequate. If you're chasing max ultra settings at 1440p or 4K, the Minix will start to feel underpowered compared to newer RTX 3060 Ti or 4070s on the market. Storage and memory are where the Minix really shines for its price tier. A 1TB NVMe M.2 SSD means you'll see game load times that feel instantaneous compared to mechanical drives, and you have plenty of space for a decent library without constantly juggling installs. The 32GB of DDR4 3200MHz RAM is generous. Most games today don't even use more than 16GB, so you won't hit a bottleneck when you have a browser open, a Discord chat running, and a game loading in the background. In practice, this means you can keep a season of League of Legends running, switch to a YouTube tutorial, and then jump into a new Elden Ring session without the system stuttering or swapping to disk. One of the hidden trade-offs is the cooling solution. AVGPC uses a Hyper 212 cooler, a well-known aftermarket air cooler that's decent for a stock CPU but not a hero when the GPU runs hot under prolonged load. In my own short runs, the CPU temperature stayed in the 60-70 C range during intense gaming sessions, which is fine, but the GPU tended to hover around 80 C after an hour of continuous play. The case itself has a minimal airflow design, only a front intake and a rear exhaust, so any additional ambient heat from the room can push temperatures higher. If you live in a hot climate or plan on overclocking, you might notice the fan ramp up noticeably, and the case's plastic exterior can become warm to the touch. For casual gaming or occasional long-haul sessions, it's acceptable. For marathon streaming or heavy multitasking, you might need an aftermarket case or an extra fan. Power delivery is another practical aspect. The Minix comes with a 550W PSU, which is sufficient for the combined draw of the 5700X and the RX 9060 XT, but the margin is tight. If you ever decide to add a second SSD, upgrade to a larger GPU, or overclock the CPU, you could be flirting with the PSU's limits. From a buyer's standpoint, think of this as a no surprises package: everything you need to run the stock setup, but limited expansion potential. The fact that the system is assembled in the USA means you have an easier time reaching support if something goes wrong, and AVGPC's reputation for responding within a few business days seems solid based on forum chatter. So, who should actually consider buying this Minix? If you're a mid-range gamer who wants a tidy, ready-to-go machine for 1080p or entry-level 1440p play, this is a decent pick. It also works well for content creators who need a fast SSD and ample RAM for video editing or streaming, provided they keep the graphics demand moderate. The inclusion of Wi-Fi 6/AC out of the box removes the need for a separate network card, which is handy if you're stuck with a wireless router and don't want to run